Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have even more news coming out over here when it comes to the PlayStation 5, where it does seem like we're now seeing a lot more leaks in regards to the PlayStation 5 Slim. Now, as you guys have probably been seeing throughout the years, we typically have seen, consoles either have a Pro version, an iteration, which I'm personally going to be really excited for whenever the Xbox or PS5 Pro does come out, but typically in terms of production, making things more fine-tuned, and as well as the technology gets better, a lot of the times it also corresponds with the technology also getting smaller. And as we mentioned before, we've had slim versions of all the other various consoles, and it does seem like this leak is actually coming out now that the PlayStation 5 is going to be getting redesigned, and as well, probably having a PlayStation 5 Slim coming out, it's seemingly in 2023. So we're going to talk about this, and I'm kind of excited for this too as well. Now, I've had my PS5 for like 2 years, and I'm probably just going to stick with it. And especially if I have a chance throughout these next upcoming holiday seasons and next few weeks, I'm probably just going to get like a God of War bundle. It's probably going to be perfectly fine with no major big issues. You don't have to stress it too much. But one of the big things to note is that if it's kind of rumored to be coming, it may be something you may want to consider in the near future. So we're going to talk about this, talk about the leaks, and as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications on. As well, for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway going on, or Xbox for $500, you get to go and pick, so just subscribe down below. And we have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below for those bonus entries, so follow those on up. And as well, the Amazon Target links and all that. And let's dive in the video. So we've had like a lot of really big leaks coming out over here when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Slim. So the PS5 Slim is coming now. Apparently, this is not until we officially have it confirmed by the PlayStation itself, like on a PlayStation blog, although a lot of these leaks come out early and a lot of information comes out early, so it also lines up timescale-wise to around year 3 of a PlayStation 5 would make sense on, on the prior gaming consoles where we had the prior gaming history, but a lot of this kind of sometimes has a lot of truth or merit when it comes to it. So the PlayStation 5 is now expected in Q3 2023. So the bulky PlayStation 5 is finally getting redesigned. There's been talk, essentially hope, for a lighter and slimmer version of the PlayStation 5 since its launch. According to our source, is indeed getting a smaller, redesigned version next year, but also it may not be fully referred to as slim. Now, just for the sake of ease, we'll just know it's based the PlayStation 5 Slim. But, as you go and say, they might call it PlayStation X, PlayStation S, or whatever they might go and call it. So basically, there's a lot of big reasons why the PS5 is bulky. The CPU, the RAM, the SSD controller all require a lot of space, and it does kind of fill out the actual entire PlayStation 5 hub. There have been minor upgrades, though, too, as we've mentioned, which we kind of covered a lot on our channel, where we've had 3 different PlayStation iterations, where every single time it's gotten a little bit smaller, and every single time that, it's gotten pretty much either more efficient or about the same, but like I said, either it weighs less, which is good, and as well as also pretty much the same in terms of efficiency, good, but as well the internals are also taking up less room, which, as you guys could probably see, the natural sense of progression would be leading towards a PlayStation 5 Slim. So very nice to see. It doesn't have to go and change the outside, though. The internal specs are the same, and the newer ones are more efficient. But at the same time, a lot of people have critiqued the PlayStation for being so bulky. So this upcoming version has a new design with a significant change to its exterior. Our source claims that this new slim version uses a D-shrink, or die shrink, which if you guys don't know, die shrinks are really, I think, involved in the CPU, etc., stuff like that. Treatment that reduces the size of the console enough to validate a brand new design by Sony. So it does look like this is actually coming, at least if these leaks are all coming to be true. So this uses less voltage, so therefore is running cooler. So that also means that as well, you don't need as much internal heat sinks and other various aspects inside the console to go and basically, the heat sink's the biggest part. A GPU can be big, a CPU can be big, but if you look at a PC, a CPU is usually really small. So at the end of the day, the biggest holding back is the huge, bulky, heavy heat sink that's usually big copper wires that are involved in the console itself. So if they can, number one, have less of a use for that, it could go smaller. And as well, if it runs cooler, you don't need it as heavily as well. So you have the same kind of internal specs, but at the same time, you can maybe make it a little bit, just more efficient. So basically, previous DIY projects that we've also covered on the channel proved that the console could be reduced in proportions. However, this power supply size has to be increased and will require water cooling. So it's not as a consumer-friendly solution in terms of the DIY solutions. So for our source for them, as additional information, so that Sony is also working on not having a stand when the console lies down, which is also kind of intriguing too. So this change might indicate that the aesthetics only flaps could also then be modified or also removed. And the focus for the company is to reduce the PS5 size and weight. And this is kind of what I've talked about in prior videos, if you guys remember me ever saying that, to also then bring down shipping as well and production cost, because it's not like the biggest change up, but let's say you're moving, like they want to move 25 million units in the next few years. That's a lot. Like if you could save $1 on every, like you probably could actually save a lot more than that, but on a very low note, if you could save $1 on every shipping, that's like 25 million extra dollars. Or as well, if you could save money on the plastic, you make spend less money on the copper for the heatsink, and as well on it's just a lot less weight. So that means you could also save money on the shipping. All of this put together means that this is going to be cheaper for Sony to produce, which then in theory also means that they can make more because they can maybe pay a little extra money or run the factories a little bit longer or even do bigger, bulkier buys because they know they can make it quicker. And that should also help out a lot in the restocks. But as well, it also means that people might get excited. People who've been waiting on consoles for a while might go and jump the gun on the Slim, or as well, some people just prefer the Slim's aesthetic, like that always goes and happens. So basically, the focus is for the company to keep on reducing the PS5 size and weight to just bring it all down. However, though, the Japanese tech giant can also market and boast about a smaller revamped design, so it's also a really good marketing decision too as well. So the leak makes sense as a redesign has been expected for a while. And even I, as like a restock tracker, talker, all of this, even I'm like, hey, like at some point, we're probably going to have a Slim or Pro version. I think my thoughts would be a Slim first. You have like a year or so to sell it. And then at some point, maybe 2024 or 2025, probably end of 2024. Then you have a Pro version. And probably we're assuming Xbox would probably be around the same time zone as well. Where they'll have like either a brand new console or have an Xbox Series Z or something like that, which would be an improved version of the prior generations. So it's just kind of cool. So they are all expecting that this is that, like they haven't seen designs yet, but I'm sure look very similar to the PlayStation 5 as of now. And the release date's still technically like a year away, but this is all the leaks and information that they're getting, and it would also kind of make sense in my normal timelines. So the production is set to start in Q2 with a retail release in Q3, but early leaks like this and dates tend to change, which is them kind of covering up their behind, but that makes sense. And then the leak also does make sense too, which I'd agree, because a new redesign is expected. If the new version also cuts costs for Sony, then a new version would be a no-brainer, which I'd totally agree on. So the price of the PS5 saw an increase in this year, and fans weren't too happy with it, but maybe if they did go and have a nicer looking, better, slim, more efficient, also nicer internals console, then maybe folks would be like, well, it's kind of like the Switch OLED. You know, the Switch OLED was slightly more expensive, and I think that was a really good market choice. So it would make a lot of sense if they're like, well, the console's slightly more efficient, it weighs a little bit less, and it looks a little bit nicer, and it's more new. Okay, maybe I'll drop the extra $50, and then maybe everyone wins at the end of the day. And as well, it would also make a lot of sense too, because freight costs are still high when it comes to shipping and moving boats and docks and everything for it. It just makes sense. And we've had like a lot of people pick up this story too, basically saying that like, hey, we're expecting this PS5 Slim to be released in 2023, and it would make a lot of sense with it. And at the end of the day, we just saw a lot of this stuff. Like Insider Gaming reported a little bit a month ago, and we covered that news, that they want to maybe have a detachable PlayStation 5 disk drive, which would also maybe tie into with the PlayStation 5 Slim idea. So maybe just make it a digital or have like a secondary USB type attachment where you can have like a disc reader and then the USB will like import itself into the game or your PlayStation console, which would also make it a little bit cheaper. Have a chance to maybe sell the disc slot for maybe $50 or $70 or whatever they decide to go do it. And it would also just line up a lot with the next gen iteration. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts and comments down below, because we've been hearing these rumors for the Slims and these rumors for these Pros for at least a little bit, but I really think a PS5 Slim will be happening sooner rather than later, because we've already had 3 integration changes for the consoles already for this year. And that, in my mind, is a big thing to note. So I think it's coming. I would say, like, always take these things as a grain of salt until PlayStation comes out with their own official statement or blog post. But I mean, this has been rumored around, and I would love to see the sources and a little bit more information if we could actually go and see it. So give me your thoughts and comments down below, and as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for their $500 either PlayStation, Xbox, or cash itself giveaway. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys would like to go and follow for those bonus entries, and Amazon sign-up links and Target links too as well. Link down below, and I appreciate you guys so much here for watching in the first place.